process identical basically to analyze the working memory data of our experiment. For switching, I gonna do another video because it's slightly different. So the first thing we have to do is basically to call SPM on our command window and open it. In order to do the second level analysis, of course, we need to have the first level analysis folder on our computer and know where it is. I have already done first level for this experiment, so what you have to do is just to download it from OSF and run the second level analysis. So we go to specify second level. I remind you that in our experiment we have, in this case for Tower of London, we have two conditions, which is the Tower of London condition and a control condition, and we have two groups, which are the hearing group and the deaf group. So what I'm gonna do is basically to go to the sign. So the first thing I do is going to the directory and select where I want to save my data. In my case, I have a folder in project student. Here I made a folder to save this data, and I'll save in Tower of London. Press done, and now the directory is correct. Then I go to the sign, and here I can select what kind of analysis I want to run. And in my case, I want to run an ANOVA, which will be 2x2 ANOVA, because I have two conditions and two groups, and so I'll select full factorial. Now I have to select the factor. So we have two factors. One is group, and the second one is condition. So I'll start with condition. I always recommend you to choose an order and always to follow the same order. So if in all the tasks you are analyzing you put condition as first and group as second, for example control as first and executive function as second, that will help you because you are systematic, you always know where to find information and what you are looking at. So the condition has two levels. The condition is not independent because you can either have Tower of London or you can have control. You can't have them at the same time, and the variance is equal. The second factor, the name is of course group. Again, we have two levels, one is deaf and one is hearing. They are independent, but the variance will be unequal. Okay, this was correct. Now I will create basically the cell that goes in my matrix for the analysis. So to do so, basically I create 4 cells because I have a 2x2 experiment. And remember the order we use. Condition is 1, and condition is first and group is second, and this corresponds to the levels. So in this case I will use 1 to indicate so the first position will indicate condition, the second position will indicate group. Inside condition, 1 will indicate the control condition, and 2 the executive function condition. For group, 1 will indicate the hearing and 2 will indicate the deaf. So I'll write 1 because now I'm gonna include data for hearing participant during the control condition. Done that, I go on scans and I go to my first level analysis folder, which is it's this one, and I start to select the beta value that no, we are not doing task switching, we are doing Tower of London, sorry. I'll go to select the beta value that I know correspond to the control condition. In this case is beta 1. So for each participant I select beta 1. Try to do this as fast as I can. Be careful to don't select con1, which is also in the same folder, because con1 is another thing, and in this case you don't want to use that. So I am almost done with the hearing and the control condition. Here you go. And that's done. So now my first cell of the matrix has level 1, which means condition control, and 1, which means group equal hearing, and that's 19 scan, each of them corresponding to 1 participant. Then we go to the second cell, that will be Q1. Q1 means that now I'm gonna include the Tower of London, the file corresponding to the Tower of London condition in the hearing participant. And this will be this file called beta2. So we select beta2 for each hearing participant, as we did before. Be careful because this program sometimes can really be very sensitive, and as you click on a file or on something, you're gonna select or deselect very easily. So always double check that the file you are including are the one you really want to include, and that you are not excluding something by mistake, because it may happen sometimes, because it's just very easy to do so, basically. Okay, now for the hearing group, I have both the control and the Tower of London condition, and be careful that each of them, because it's the same group, has to have the same number of files. If one of them doesn't have the same number of files within the same group, you will get an error. Now we go to the def group. So we want to see the control condition, so we put 1 for the def group. Press OK and go again on Tower of London, which is here, and we go to the def group, which are this one who start from 1. So again, I select beta 1 from each of my def participants. Again, being careful to include everybody, to don't deselect participant by mistake, to don't include file we don't want to include. Done. Now we go to the last cell, which at this point will be 2, because we have a Tower of London condition for the def group. And again, we go to select our first level analysis for Tower of London, and we do for each participant, and the file this time is going to be beta 2. So starting from 101, we go to each of them and select beta 2. Almost done. Okay, the last one. Okay, now we have done. We don't. We'll leave these other option as they are. One thing that I really recommend you to do in order to check your work, but for you to check your work and for us to check if you are doing it properly, is to press the save key button and to save this together with your second level analysis. It will save basically the batch, so we will be able to go back and see what which file you have included, how you have done this batch, and if there is any error, it will come out. It will be easy to detect, basically. Done that, I press play. And as you can see now, we have this matrix for which each square represents one of the cells that we included. So the first is condition 1 control for group 1 hearing. The second is control deaf, Tower of London hearing, Tower of London deaf. And once you obtain deaf, you go again on the menu and you select estimate. When you select estimate, you have to select again your file. So go inside your navigate into the inside your computer and find the file. Second level analysis, Tower of London, find your SPM file, done, and run it. If you don't do that, you get an error. So when you go to see the results. So the model is running. It is done now, so I go on results and I am going to see how the results look like. So I select SPM, and as you can see, here there is an ANOVA, and there are the results of this ANOVA. So if I, for example, I go to main effect of condition and I press done, and I'll do again just so I can explain you what these options are. So main effect of condition, I press done. So this is asking me if I want to apply masking. I say none. This is the p-value, and in this case we select FWE, which means that correction will be applied. This is a very stringent way to show the data, but it's okay for condition because we expect a strong effect of condition in this experiment. If you want to look at the effect for group, for example, you're gonna go with a lower threshold and perhaps don't use the correction in your exploratory analysis. But in this case, I select 0.05 with correction. I don't change anything in the threshold, but basically this helps you. Sometimes there are some voxel that are active, but is mostly noise, so you can put here for example 10, and they will show you only cluster where more than 10 or more than 10 voxel are active. But at this point I don't care, so I press 0, and as you can see, here we can basically see the activity for the main effect of condition. Here you have the MNI coordinates for each cluster. Here you have the significance value at peak level and at cluster level, and yes, this is basically the activity for condition. Another thing you can do is to plot this data on overlay this data on an MNI brain, which you find in the SPM folder, canonical. You can use this single subject T1, but you can use each of them. The T1 gonna be good because it's basically our brain, our anatomical image of the brain from the MNI repository, and you can see better how they look in the brain, and this has also a nice a nice function. If you click with the right button, you go to display label neuromorphometric and you click on the cluster. You can see where the cluster is located. So for example, angular gyrus, precuneus, medial frontal gyrus, and so on and so forth. And this is the basic fMRI is the basic second level analysis with fMRI. Now, if I go again on SPM, I can also create contrast, and I think that's a useful tool. If you want, for example, see something that it doesn't come out in the interaction, you want to see, for example, your deaf group, only your deaf group or only your hearing group, without caring so much about the condition, you can do this easily. So remember that here we have a condition control, condition Tower of London, hearing group, deaf group, hearing group, deaf group. So I want all you to see the deaf, and what I will do is just to ignore the hearing. So to the first cell I attributed 0 because I don't want to see it. I will give 1 to the deaf and to the deaf control. Again 0 because I don't care about the hearing at this point, and 1 to the deaf, and I submit it, and as you can see, we'll add a new t value, and we can go to see what it is. But before doing that, I'll create another contrast in which I want to see in the deaf the Tower of London more than control. In this case, I will give 0 again to the hearing group. I will give -1 to the control condition in the deaf group. I will give 0 to the hearing group Tower of London condition and 1 to the deaf group Tower of London condition. Why I give -1? Because I'm basically doing a subtraction. I'm doing a t-test between these two conditions. So I want to see the difference between these two. Now I will not apply a mask. I will I'm going to select a more lenient threshold in this case, which is 0.001 not corrected, and I'll leave the rest how it is. And as you can see, this is the activity of the deaf Tower of London more than control, and you can see that it's not really different from what we found in the hearing. Indeed, if we go in the interaction between group and condition, it doesn't come significant. I can show you. So going again to results, interaction condition for group, and I'll use 001. Yeah, as you can see, it's nothing is significant. There are a couple of nothing is significant at correct level, so nothing is significant basically. So and this and you can see that's why the reason is because the hearing and the deaf look similar during the Tower of London condition. Now I want to see my other contrast, which is the deaf contrast, and this basically will give me the area that are activated both during the control condition and the task in the deaf group. And like you can see, we have the visual cortex, because of course a participant will always activate visual cortex during a visual stimuli, the motor cortex because the button response, and so on. So this is it. This is the first video, I'm going to do a separate one with the task switching. Remember, if you want to analyze the working memory, you basically have to follow the same procedure you are following here. Okay, thank you for listening, and see you later for the other video.